Hello everybody and welcome to Card of the Week. I'm not alone for this one. I'm joined by Daniel from Quick Learner. We just finished recording a great video for his channel and we are here now to roll a card and then talk about that card here for Card of the Week. I am on my third favorite website, Arkham Build, and let's see what card we have today. Unconventional Method. This is a zero-cost survivor event. It's an insight and a tactic, and it's for 2 book. As additional cost to play Unconventional Method, choose and discard an item asset that takes up at least 1 hand slot from your hand or play area. Investigate. You get plus X book for this investigation, where X is the chosen asset's printed resource cost. If you succeed and that asset was in your play area, discover 1 additional clue at your location. So I have a few topics that are hitting my head for what unconventional makes me think of. One of them is Survivor investigating becoming too good? And I think that's an interesting thing to talk about. The number of cards that survivors can actually use to get 2 clues from a location, which means that survivors are very good cluevers into players. Alternatively, I want to compare this card to Act of Desperation, which came out in the Circle Undone, to kind of talk about how does an unbalanced card become balanced? Because this is kind of just a fixed version of Act of Desperation, which gave you so much value for a level 0 card. And I guess then the question comes with it is this balanced version of Unconventional Method worth playing in comparison to something like Act of Desperation? What do you think on that kind of regard?
Ooh, right. That was my first thought too. Of course, when we saw this one and Catch, the other card of the cycle, it was hard not to compare it with the card we'd already seen before. And there's just not the you get X plus X resources, right, for the cost of your item. And on one hand, you could say that card, as you did, is probably too much, right? Very, very strong card. On the other, you could also say getting an extra clue should be good enough compared to the +1 damage from an event. So maybe that other card needed something extra. Maybe plus X resources is too much. But yeah, I kind of wonder about this card making the cut when there's other really good investigation tools in Survivor already. What does this give you beyond what, I don't know, Nautical Charts already does for you, which might be the item that you're discarding? Yeah. That's kind of what's floating in my head here as well. It's like, what does this make the cut for kind of all the reasons that we're thinking about? It's very good, like the 2 matching icons, 0 cost, get 2 clues. But are there enough expensive items to throw away to make this worth a deck slot?
I think that's kind of the thing where, like, Act of Desperation feeds into a certain play style, right? Act of Desperation is you throw your empty guns at an enemy and get your money back, right? And I think it kind of broke away from the play pattern that they expected to take, where you just throw a baseball bat at an enemy to get a consistent source of damage to replace with another weapon you found later on. And I think that Unconventional Method, in theory, is supposed to live in the same idea, where you use your assets that have uses that likely investigate or fight, and then use that to get clues, right? Like, where if you empty out a flashlight and you get +2 book, we use that flashlight to then discover an additional clue at the location. So you're getting like extra out of your flashlight. But I think that it's the missing the resource reimbursement is actually just surprisingly huge. That was the thing that like really made like Act of Desperation like where it was. Like, realistically, Act of Desperation should have probably cost like at least 1 XP, right? And I would rather have this kind of Unconventional Method, and like, I'm not even talking about Catch. As far as I'm concerned, that card is like entirely unplayable. Like, I can see a reason to play Unconventional Method, but I often find myself not playing it because I don't need to do the thing on the card, so I end up just cutting it, because a lot of the assets that now investigate are just like better. So I would rather, really I'd rather this card just like spend XP and reimburse the money, kind of sit like where Jessica Hyde did versus Peter Sylvester, right? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, my thought on this is also like who's playing this card. what exactly are you throwing away? And in the mindset of like you're playing a flex where you have a gun that you don't need anymore and you throw it away for the two clues, like Mark Harrigan could play this, that is kind of cool. But ultimately, that's probably not the best usage of that deck slot. Like that play pattern where you have to be done with that particular item in play and want to get the two clues is very different than Act of Desperation, where I was playing the event because I couldn't fight with my gun in play, which I thought made a lot of sense and was very cool. We agreed, like it should cost 1 XP or something. But this doesn't have like an obvious, why am I playing this versus just waiting another round for my nautical charts to ready?
One thing that's very different from this card, though, in Act of Desperation, is that you can discard the card from your hand as well. So I'm like,
I think you can too.
You can for Act of Desperation? Wow. That's pretty crazy. You don't get the resources. Yeah, that makes sense. And this one was in your play area. You get the clue. That's the change on that one. But I wonder if there's like a home for this kind of deck where, like in specifically Daryl and Min, where they're drawing a bunch of cards because of their Seeker availability, and then like they just like are running so many hand slots that they can just like grab clues, like treating them as not necessarily a deduction, but like cards that they were going to discard to hand anyway, or combo it with something like Push to the Limit to be able to grab play the card from their discard pile. Or alternatively, in a weird place of like Survivor Tony Morgan, where you can use, like, you have so many weapons that you can use those weapons during downtime to like, again, instead of playing like Act of Desperation to turn that gun into damage, you can turn that gun into clues during downtime, which is not a bad thing, because with Tony Morgan, you're going to have a lot of downtime because you're so efficient at killing enemies. Like, there's a pretty good gameplay loop of shoot an enemy, kill the enemy, throw that gun at your location, and grab 2 clues. Like, that's a pretty powerful gameplay loop, and Survivor Tony is very powerful.
I played this in our sealed run of Drowned City. I played it in Patrice. And the idea, well, I mean, 2 icons are always good, but I was kind of playing with extra items. I wanted to get something like the improvised shield into the discard pile, although it was +1, which isn't great. That's kind of the problem with this, where old keyring or some of the other cheap assets just don't cost very much. Anyway, where it was kind of fun was with the off-class stuff, where I had a bunch of Doom on Dowsing Rod, and then I threw it into the garbage with Unconventional Method. And I think that's where the card kind of wants to live.
Yeah.
It's just tough to see exactly that as the plan from the get-go.
I think that's a very interesting perspective to look at it. And like, you could also do that with like Agnes Baker, right? Like, you could do that with the Dowsing Rod is the good one. Ceremonial Sickle if you hate yourself, right? Like, there's that kind of like stuff that you can kind of just like pull off with it that I think is a very good way of handling it. Yeah, because you're right. Like, let's just like look at like the old keyring and the flashlight. Like, +2 book for the survivors. In that case, even if you're doing that with the flashlight, like, look what I found is just better, right? Like, look what I found is just a more consistent card, because it doesn't require you to line up your deck in like the play pattern into the specific moment to make it work. So I think you're 100% right that Unconventional Method's like probably strongest use is taking advantage of removing something from play that you want to see removed, right? Like, another thing could be, let's say like Tommy Muldoon with the Remington, right? Where he's able to discard the Remington 4 and get a shot out of it. Like, a lot of people do that with Act of Desperation, but when you start doing it with something like Unconventional Method, it becomes more of a flex option as opposed to just pure fighter.
Right. Marion came out in this box, right? And she could do the same thing.
Yeah.
She can get some 5 level 0 survivor cards. So I get it. I get what the card is trying to do. Unfortunately, I think it just is, it lives in the shadow of the I want something more from this.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's an interesting kind of like player mentality thing, where it's like reverse power creep, right? Like you can look at power creep and be like, oh, this is just a better version of X. And it's kind of like the same sort of mental thing where it's like, oh, this is just a worse version of X. So I immediately feel not inclined to take it because I know how good X is. So why would I bother be playing with this card here? Because it's just kind of like pales in comparison to the value. Because like realistically, even in this dialogue that we're talking, this Tommy Muldoon deck, this Tony Morgan deck, this Marion deck, it's just better to like save that moment for the 10 health boss enemy and just kill it in like 2 actions, right? Like,
Right.
And that's just kind of like the unfortunate part about Unconventional Method, because it pales in comparison to a card that does a similar job, but this does it worse than that card. It feels very hard to actually play this card. And then when the clue getting options just outpace it, Unconventional Method is just exactly that. It's the unconventional method to get it done.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right. That was Card of the Week. Look at that. Nice and easy peasy. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want to see this series going, please continue liking the video and commenting on the video. It's very helpful, and it's the way that I decide to make content. So let me know if you like it. Daniel, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed your first Card of the Week as well. But that's great. In the meantime, thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to support the channel, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to go above and beyond, you can also join our Patreon or our YouTube memberships. I would love the support. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. And as always, a GG's.